What's going on, guys? Menthol here. So I thought I would tell you guys about my story, my addiction story, all the drugs I've taken, all the bad shit I've done, and just like my coming from rock bottom to sober, and just like the journey that it took just to get here. It's been fucking crazy.
And it all dissolves.
Okay, so I'll just get right into it. I first tried Xanax when I was probably 10 or 9 because I was terrified to fly. I remember going to, I think, Mexico with my family and my cousins and stuff, and I was absolutely terrified. So I ended up getting Xanax, and I think it was 0.5 milligrams. And I remember taking it, and at the time, it was just a calming effect. I didn't really think anything of it. And we went on the trip, and I was still scared. And it made me more scared because I was like, why aren't I freaking out? I don't feel like I'm in control. I'm not feeling anything. And it just kind of freaked me out. And I didn't really think anything of it for years, like years and years. And then obviously in high school, I think I was 14, I started smoking weed. And it wasn't even because I liked to smoke weed. It's because I wanted to be edgy and cool. And I wanted everybody to think I was such a badass. And I kind of just wanted to fit in, even though I was one of the first kids in my middle school to even start smoking. I wanted to have that, like, oh my God, he smokes weed, he's so cool kind of thing, which I think a lot of people, I guess, wanted to do. No one was really smoking weed at that young of an age to get high or to get outside their own situation. At least that's my opinion. I could be wrong. So yeah, I started smoking weed, and it was actually me and Alec that basically started in all of our friend group. We started smoking weed. It was cool, and we'd sneak out and we'd go smoke a bowl, and it just felt so bad. Like we're such badasses. We're sneaking out of our parents' basements and meeting up at like midnight and smoking weed, and we'd all that type of shit. And then pretty soon it became, okay, now we're gonna sleep at each other's houses on a school night, and we're gonna get up early and smoke weed before school. And I just remember being absolutely terrified. You know that feeling when you're new to smoking and you think that everybody knows that you're high. When you're walking down the hall, everybody that's walking towards you is like, in your head, you're like, oh, they know I'm high. I'm fucked. They're going to go immediately to the school police officer, tell me I'm high, and I'm fucked. This is it. It was just a constant panic, and it sucked. I don't even know why I did it. I think it was just to, like, the camaraderie and the brotherhood of us stoners kind of, I don't know. I was always an only child, so to have that camaraderie it felt awesome, and I felt like I belonged to like a group of brothers, of like people, and yeah, it was cool. And I wouldn't say that weed is necessarily a gateway drug. I don't think, but I could be wrong. I mean, I guess it's different for everybody. I could definitely see it being a gateway drug, and I have to say, I didn't stop with weed, so who knows, maybe it could have been a gateway drug and I just didn't even realize it. So that went on, and I was always terrified to try hallucinogens. I just know my mind, I'm not able to let go. I always want to feel in control, which is why like weed was so weird, because it was like a love-hate relationship. There were times where I'd get too high and everything got super real, and I couldn't even fathom that I was gonna stay that high forever, and I would start to panic and breathe heavy, and my hands would start sweating. It was just constant anxiety. And looking back, I was like, why did I even smoke weed? And I was like, oh yeah, because I wanted to fit in and be cool with everybody else. Anyways, so that went on through high school. And keep in mind, I was a piece of shit in high school. I got sent to military school in Texas when I was in 10th grade. I was failing all my classes. I was skipping school. All I cared about were girls. Looking back, it's like I so badly wish I could go back and just take it seriously, even though I'm glad where I'm at now. But high school for me now, like my mentality of just not caring so much about what people think of me, I guess you could say to an extent, would have helped so much. But when you have all those hormones running through you, it's constant fear of how you look, how you act. You're second guessing yourself. You're insecure. You're anxious. So yeah, I was really just looking for acceptance is pretty much what it came down to. So yeah, I came back from military school, and for a while there, it's like I was making my bed, I was exercising, and then pretty soon I fell back into, drinking, smoking weed, hanging out with, everybody was doing it. Is pretty much my mentality. Everybody was doing it. I wasn't gonna be some lame who was sober, because no one would have wanted to hang out with me. Let's be serious. I wanted to be that funny guy who entertains people and makes girls laugh. And I just couldn't do that sober. I didn't think I could. So yeah, I ended up almost failing all my classes throughout high school. Somehow was able to walk, but I technically didn't graduate high school until I think '08. I went to this like alternative school, and I ended up finishing my classes there. And it was kind of embarrassing because there was like 15-year-olds there, 16-year-olds, and then this 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid who was just a dumbass. I didn't even take that seriously. I think my whole life has just been one joke of me not taking stuff seriously. Even then, smoking weed, drinking, wanting to fit in, even with the like younger kids. I wanted to be like that cool older kid. It was just fucking pathetic. After I finally technically graduated, that's kind of when shit hit the fan, and I started taking ecstasy. I started smoking more weed, drinking more, and then that's when I found Xanax. And Xanax was like a lifesaver, only because it helped me put away all those insecurities, all that anxiety, all the depression. I wasn't afraid of anything. I could talk to girls. I could make friends like that. I was just happy. And I was happy that I was happy. And it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, finally. It was like a temporary coping mechanism. If something went bad, if a girl turned me down, it was like, that's life. And yeah, so I was getting that on the internet. I was buying like thousands of them every week. I would sell some. I would take majority. And it was just a fucking shit show, honestly. I'm kind of jumping ahead. But, and then I have to say, in 10th or 11th grade, my friend Martin ended up getting cancer. This is going to sound horrible, but I remember I was hanging out with him. I was so depressed about it and like devastated. He's still alive, by the way. He survived and he's fine now, but it just tore me up. And I remember we ended up going to a movie, me and Martin, and he ended up giving me a 20 milligram Oxycontin. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I'll try it. Whatever. And I ended up taking it, and I was like, oh my God, this is like complete ecstasy, even though at the time I didn't know what ecstasy was. But I was like, I felt amazing. I was chain smoking cigarettes. Yeah, it was just fucking awesome. As bad as that sounds, I'm not trying to glorify it or make it seem that amazing, but when you first take it, it's like, where has this been my whole fucking life? It was fucking awesome. So now that I've been introduced to opiates, I would find them randomly and I would take them here and there, but Xanax was like my main thing because I've always suffered from anxiety and depression and fear of like irrational fears. So, but yeah, after high school, my mom moved to Minnetonka. I ended up moving with her, and that's when shit hit the fan. I keep saying that, but Minnetonka, that apartment, it got so bad. That's where I was ordering the thousands of Xanax to my P.O. box every week. I was selling a bunch. At one point, I was up to 30 milligrams a day, maybe more. It's like I would get these blister packs. It was really sneaky. I'd get this in the mail, this like portfolio, this binder, and in between the sheets of paper were glued together, and in between those papers were just blister packs upon blister packs of all this Xanax, 1 milligram Xanax. And I would literally just take a whole blister pack, put it all in my hand with a fish oil, 2 or 3 fish oil capsules, because I heard it kicks in faster. I don't even know if that's true. And I just put it in my mouth and literally chew it up. If you can imagine chewing up fish oil, like 3 fish oil capsules and 10 or 15 Xanax, it's the most horrific taste. Horrific. But yeah, that was just my daily routine. I'd do that once or twice a day. And I'd just sit on my ass. I'd wake up at probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And it's like my mom was flying, so I didn't have any like repercussions. My dad ended up moving back in with us, but like even then it's like he could only do so much. Even if I had this like a drill sergeant there, it's like they would have just given up on me. And it's, I don't even blame my dad, because how do you talk to someone who's on, you know, so many milligrams a day of Xanax and just a piece of shit? You can't talk to him. I was just a fucking robot, like a mumbling, droney piece of shit robot. Wake up at 3 or 4 in the afternoon with my pajama pants on, sit at my computer and play Counter-Strike for 8 hours straight, take a break to eat like a bowl of cereal. I was like malnourished. I was a skinny little fucking dimwit. And then I'd smoke weed, I'd drink, whatever I could get my hands on to escape reality. That was, even if it means stealing my dad's Tramadol, Vicodin, whatever he had. It was, even my mom's Suboxone. It was just really bad. It got to a point where it's like I was doing all these things, but I didn't need to. Like, I ended up stealing a car once, briefly, and then I freaked out and was like, what am I doing? There was times where I'd go out at like midnight and I'd break into people's houses. I stole a laptop. I was stealing jewelry. I just was just a terrible human being. It's not like I was running with a crew and doing all these things. I was literally by myself, just acting reckless. And I don't even know why I was doing it. If it was for the thrill, the excitement, because I didn't need to do it. You know what I mean? It's like I needed money to get drugs, but I don't know. It was just bizarre. I felt like I was doing it out of just boredom almost. And I still think back. I remember when I first got sober, I was thinking back of like, because my house had gotten broken into when I was growing up, and they stole all my mom's jewelry, the computer, TVs, everything. And I just remember being like, wow, how could someone do this? How could someone do this to someone? This is awful. All my mom's jewelry, all that stuff. And then I ended up doing that. And I just, like I said, when I got sober, I just felt this guilt of just thinking like, oh my God, those people were probably terrified. They thought, just thinking like someone coming into your home, into your personal space, your private areas, your house, the place where you live, and just walking around, just grabbing stuff, stealing it, just knowing that some stranger was in your house with reckless behavior, stealing shit, just sounds terrifying. It sounds terrifying. And then you don't feel safe at home. It's so shitty. So shitty. I think the worst thing I ever did, though, was